It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is Bombay Black from their Anger Management release, Without You. And kicking off the show tonight, we heard the band Sacred Oath with their title track, just called Sacred Oath. I see some people in the chat room making comment about that, and a guy who's made a sacred oath to be here tonight on the mic and maybe even be rested. I don't know. My good friend and partner, Chris. What's going on, Chris?
What is up, man? How are we tonight?
Are you rested, or are you half in the bag, or what's the deal?
No, I'm good. I wasn't really sleeping. I was because my life is so exciting. I just was, for the 9 millionth time in a row, I'm like in the middle of watching The Shield again. So I'm like I pretty much spent the whole day just watching season 3 of The Shield.
Nice. Very nice. Well, personally, I was in the middle of catching up with the latest episodes of BoJack Horseman.
Oh, yeah, I saw that was released this, last week?
Last week, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure you caught all 15 episodes or whatever the new one is.
I think it's only 12 episodes. I think I'm into episode 6 or 7.
All right.
Yeah, so.
Still good?
Yeah. I love BoJack Horseman. It's just one of those, adult cartoons that has that subtle sense of humor that if you're not aware of social things going on or whatever, you may not get all the references.
Sure.
But it's one of those cerebral shows, and the jokes are so quick that if you're not, quick yourself, it's not going to be a very funny show for you.
Sure.
It's kind of it's kind of in the Archer vein.
Yeah, my kid loves it. My kid loves it to death. Me, I'm not a cartoon guy. I really don't. Even like Simpsons or any of that stuff, I've never really dug too much. But I know my kid fucking. I told him I got the email from Netflix saying that it was released, and I sent it to him, and he immediately was like, "I've already been counting the days, dude."
Nice.
So I get it. It's one of them shows that's like that has like hardcore following to it. So hey, cool, man.
Yeah, love it. Well, the thing is that when it comes to some of these adult oriented cartoons, kind of like that Bill Burr cartoon F is for Family.
Right.
If you were brought up in the 70s, which I know, for a good part of your existence, you were brought up as a kid in the 70s.
Sure.
That might be relatable to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you can sit through cartoon, but Bill Burr, and he's very funny.
Sure.
But the whole premise of it is a nuclear family in the 70s.
Okay.
And the throwback even for me was hysterical, because it's just like I remember how goofy the 70s were. We were just coming out of the Vietnam War, and the 60s were over, and 70s with all the scandal with the Nixon White House, and and racial tensions and all that kind of stuff. It's a pretty funny show.
Kind of like today.
Yeah, the more things change, the more they stay the same, right?
Yeah, no shit, dude. Wow. It's like every time you turn, it's more and more difficult to avoid it. Have you noticed that? You can't avoid it no matter what you do now.
Well, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I was a huge news wonk, much like yourself.
Sure.
And I have not actively watched, broadcast news for probably about 6 months now.
Yeah, I don't watch any. I gave up when the election was going on, and I have not gone back, and I don't miss it even to an ounce.
Yeah. Where I get my news is I actually watch the YouTube clips of any kind of speeches or press conferences or congressional hearings or the actual thing, rather than have some biased reporter feed me the story and tell me what they think it means.
Right.
And I did a little test just prior to giving up watching the news.
Okay.
And I would watch the actual event happen.
Okay.
And then I would watch the news report it.
Sure.
Total distortion.
Oh, of course.
So it's just like, that's it. I'm done with the broadcast news. I'm just, if I have enough time to sit and try to catch up with, what I consider an important event to me, I'll actually go watch the thing, on YouTube as a recap and make up my own mind.
The only real time I get I actually watch any sort of news anymore is if my Facebook lights up that somebody blew up somewhere.
Okay.
Then I go to CBSN because they always seem to have cameras wherever the bombs are blowing up, so I can get some cool coverage of that shit. But
right.
and I've said it before on the show, I love watching it. I love watching when fucking the world's falling apart. I do. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm looking forward to whatever country it's in the next 9/11, wherever it is, if it's in Riyadh or if it's in, England or wherever. I can't wait to watch it.
Right.
Because that's the only time I'm going to watch any news anymore is when that kind of shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see the media beating the shit out of Trump or fucking Nancy Pelosi or whatever. Who gives a fuck? At this point, who cares? Antifa or Nazi. Shut up with all your shit. Who gives a fuck? If everybody would mind their own fucking business, guess what? All of that shit would go away.
You're absolutely right, but it sells advertising, and these quote unquote news agencies, they're just in the business to make a profit.
Yeah, well, I wonder do you think that they still are now? I mean, do you think people are watching more or less these days?
I think less. I think people are tired of it.
You think so?
Yeah, I really do. I think that people are tired of it.
You think now it's all the Facebook, quick hitter 30-second clips now?
It's either that or more people who are concerned, they're doing probably similar to what I'm doing, is just seek it out for themselves rather than listen to some, retard bloviate about something that, is totally a total distortion.
Right. I kind of think what's more newsworthy to regular people now is when people act like fucking cunts. Like, I don't know if you saw the video that I put on Facebook yesterday, I think it was, of the lady that was throwing bricks through the other person's house.
Yeah, the thing is, and here's where everybody is off the chain, and I did see that.
Yeah.
Is where on this planet, especially in this country anyway, does someone feel justified destroying somebody else's property based on a disagreement?
I don't know. I just... All I know is that if that was happening to my house, I'd have taken one step outside, fired the judge off, and said, okay, next one's going in you. And that would have been it. And I would have, whatever. I'd have got cited for firing a gun outside. So fucking what?
Right.
But she'd have stopped. She'd have stopped if she saw I had a fucking gun and was ready to shoot her.
Yeah, it's true.
I watched that. I must have watched that video 20 times and just laughed and laughed because it had everything that I want to see. It had destruction of property. It had racial slurs. It had pussy guy. That guy, dude, you watched it, right?
Yeah, he hid behind the curtain and was basically hiding behind his wife, who was videoing the whole thing.
But what a pussy he was.
Yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
You're wrecking my house. Quit it.
Get out there and do something about it, you fucking idiot.
But that black girl out there just heaving big rocks at their big picture windows and busting them out.
And he was just like, stop. That's my house. What a pussy.
Yeah.
I got it. Now in that situation, are you justified to punch her in the face?
Well, I think if you can't get someone to, I mean, you have the right to defend your property.
Sure.
And that girl, that woman, she clearly was on their property picking up big stones from their landscaping and heaving it through their windows.
Yeah. So in that case, you think that even though she's a chick, you should be able to go out there and just deck her.
Yeah, well, yeah, you need to go out and confront her first. And then if she doesn't stop, then you need to gang tackle her to the ground.
Yeah, she needed a good punch right in the face.
Yeah.
And he should have come in the house and punched his own chick, too, who wouldn't shut up. His own chick was the problem. Did you get that out of that video?
Well, I mean, she was exacerbating the situation, yelling at her, racial slurs and all kinds of things like that. But regardless of what anybody says, they're just words.
Well, yeah, but you can't tell dumb people that.
Yeah. I mean, you could stand there and call, you can stand there and call each other racial, terms or call somebody a cunt or whatever all day long.
Sure.
You have the option just to turn around and walk away.
Yeah. unless there's bricks coming through.
Yeah, I understand. But the thing is it's just that everybody has to escalate the situation.
I know.
You know, you it starts off with just verbal tit for tat, then it gets into, you know, starting to wreck something. You know, I'm going to destroy something of yours.
Well, here's where my big problem was with that video, and this is going to come off extremely sexist, and I don't care. There were two guys in that video, and neither did a goddamn thing to straighten their chick out. You had the white guy who just kept saying, stop, don't do it, and should have pushed his chick into another room and shut her the fuck up. And then you had the black guy next door that just stood there and he yelled a little bit, but he didn't stop the chick either.
Right.
You know, what should have happened, in my world, what would have happened, I would hope.
Tranquilizer darts?
No, I would hope that me and whoever the boyfriend of the other girl would grab him by the hair and drag him in the house and say, throw him on the couch and say, shut up. Stop causing this fucking problem, you dumb bitch.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, due to so many of the laws these days and the way that the justice system works these days, as soon as a guy puts his hand on a woman in any way, shape, or form, he's going to jail.
All right. Well.
Even if he has to stop her from doing something, he's going to jail because somehow, some way, it's going to be twisted that this guy was being abusive and, you know, whatnot. Even if he was just trying to stop a situation from escalating.
Right. That's probably true.
You know, and guys these days, they don't want to go to jail over some chick.
Over some bitch.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that guy is still, the white guy is still with that fucking chick or no?
You know, I barely caught glimpses of this guy with his bad tattoos and, you know, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Both of them, well, all of them involved.
Yeah.
And they were all, in my opinion, just looking at the neighborhood and, you know, seeing the people. They were all trailer trash, every one of them. You know, they were all just, you know, you could just tell that they were. There was no proof of this, but, you know, just if you're going to go with stereotype, just drug and alcohol addled individuals.
It was like 30 grand earned between the four of them.
Pretty much. Yeah. You ever know, you know, the thing is there's no secret that I drove a cab for a couple of years. And, you know, the unfortunate thing is I did not drive a cab in like a inner city or anything like that. It was in a very rural area. And
that's unfortunate.
Well, it is, but it isn't.
All right.
Where I was going with this is that typically, at least in my experience, the people that I carted around were the lowest common denominator in society.
Sure.
And I saw plenty of that. You know, just the environment and the attitude, and, you know, because most of the people that I carted around, I was either taking them to or from the bar, to or from the liquor store,
right,
and they were always disheveled, not exactly, you know, dressed properly, if you will. They weren't like upstanding citizens going to a normal job. They were all just kind of dregs. You know what I mean?
Right. And to be clear, so that people understand, when you're saying that you took them to and from the bar, you worked a day shift.
Yes, that's correct.
So it wasn't like overnight. It wasn't like 10 o'clock at night. You were taking them to the bar at like 2.
No, at 10.
At 10 in the morning?
10 in the morning. And I was picking them up at like, you know, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, or I was picking somebody up from their house at like 8 or 9 in the morning and taking them to the liquor store that just opened.
Right. The good people.
Yeah. So I saw plenty of that. And, you know, getting back to your video, that's the environment that reminded me of.
Did you recognize the street?
No, I can't say that I recognize that exact street, but that could be any town, USA.
Right. Yeah, that video made me laugh and laugh. I ain't gonna lie. I watched that thing easily 20 times. I just kept on chuckling when that guy being such a pussy just made me laugh and laugh. I can't even fathom being that big of a pussy.
Right. Well, the thing is that, I live in a pretty upper scale neighborhood.
Sure.
And the local municipality has made some of the apartment complexes in the general area Section 8.
Okay. Ooh.
Which, that did not set well with a lot of people in the area. It's just like, hey, wait a minute, and of course, the people who push this agenda,
right?
They're just like, well, you're being discriminatory and you're being this and you're being that. And it's like, well, the reason why is that we pay for properties around here and we don't need that kind of a situation escalating around here.
Yeah. And I don't need my $200,000 property now valued at $110,000.
Exactly. Because you got neighbors who are fighting and throwing rocks through windows and shit.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
No, I get it, man. It's bad when that happens to a neighborhood, and now, I mean, especially where you live. I mean, not specifically where you live, but the Chicagoland area, where they're trying their damnedest to sanctuary everywhere too.
Yeah.
Oof. That's got to make you saying, fuck you, I got to get out of here.
Well, fortunately, that's in a different state, but it is close enough to where I don't know if it'll have any residual effect.
Yeah.
But, it is ridiculous. It's getting to the point to where the decent, common, working class people who just go to work every day and pay their bills and behave themselves, they're going to be subject to the problems that arise, when you give the, people who perhaps don't hold those same values the upper hand.
I see it today, and I am so glad that I spent a lot of my youth as a scumbag. Because I'm serious, too. I know that sounds funny, but I'm dead serious. Because it won't be such a stretch to go back to it if I need to.
Right. So you're gonna revert to the scumbag Chris Aiken?
Dude, if it comes to my neighborhood, you better believe I'm going to be a throwing punches, throwing bullets kind of fuck.
Right.
I'm not gonna sit back and get mowed over by a bunch of fucking people that are, that don't belong in my neighborhood. Fuck that.
Well, how come they don't belong there, Chris? Are you better than they are?
I am. Yes, I absolutely am.
Is your white privilege showing?
No, my work privilege is showing.
Oh, you mean a work ethic? You mean people who actually pay for their way through life?
Yeah, and if it comes to my door to where I got to deal with vandalism and shit again, there was times I lived in some shitty neighborhoods and people stole stereos out of my cars and shit like that. And there was one or two times when I caught a guy stealing a stereo out of my car and I fucking knocked his teeth out.
Yeah.
That happened for absolute positive when I lived over in Northfield in those apartments over there.
Sure.
You've been to Northfield, and for people that don't know, not exactly a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I lived over there, and I caught a guy stealing a car stereo out of my car, and he had my door open, and I snuck up behind him, punched him in the back, and when he stood up, I smashed his teeth on the fucking rim of the door. What do you call that? The door hole or whatever?
Yeah.
I took him by his fucking hair and smashed his face and knocked his teeth out.
Nice.
And I got arrested, but so what? I bet he didn't steal another car stereo. He sure didn't get mine.
Sure.
Fuck it. So what? I had to pay couple $100 fine. Big fucking deal.
But he'll never forget you, though.
No, every time he's eating those mashed potatoes, he probably thinks about me.
Nice. Yeah, that area over there got so bad. There was a really nice mall there once, wasn't there?
Randall Park.
Yeah, Randall Park Mall.
Yeah.
And that totally closed down and just got totally obliterated with graffiti, and the place just got vandalized and just torn to shit. Did they tear that place down?
I don't know if it's still there. I think somebody just bought it. Somebody just bought it, and they're going to do some revitalization or some shit, I think. Or maybe they bought the property. I don't know if they tore it down or not. But, dude, I saw a murder there once. An actual murder. I was in the parking lot getting tickets to a show back when you had to stand in line and get tickets.
At the Ticketmaster.
Yeah, at the Ticketmaster. And I came out, and remember they used to sell, like, put the tickets would go on sale at like 8:00 in the morning.
Right.
A Saturday, but the mall wouldn't open till 10.
Right.
So I was there and I got my tickets and I got in my car and I looked over and I don't know, somewhat away from me, but across the parking lot, not far enough that I couldn't see, but I saw a guy fucking get shot right in the face through his fucking driver's side window.
Wow.
I was like, fuck this. Get the fuck out of here.
Nice.
I wasn't staying for that shit. Fuck no.
Mr. Aiken, did you happen to see what went on in the parking lot at Randall Park Mall?
Nope.
Didn't see a thing?
Nope. I was just here to get my Motley Crue tickets.
Right, right.
Girls, girls, girls. That's all I saw, sir.
Mr. Aiken, do you wear corrective lenses?
I should have been, Your Honor, but I wasn't wearing them that day. Everything was hazy.
Right.
Except my tickets, Your Honor.
All I could see was some silhouette. Well, could you describe the silhouette? Well, it could have been any citizen in the area, Judge.
Yeah. In fact, it could have been a dog for all I know.
Right.
I really can't tell you for sure.
Right. All I know is that I got fifth row center.
Exactly. Exactly. Am I standing out here? I may have had to stand in Murderer's Row, but at least I got good ticks.
Right. Yeah. What a mess.
That place was fucking scary, dude. That place at the end, I went in there one time like the year it closed. And I don't even know why. I really don't remember why. But I went in there and I wasn't in there like 15 minutes and I felt scared. I was like, fuck this. I got to get out of here.
Right.
You know, so, well, we're getting word. It was demolished 2014. You can tell I go to that city often. They're saying that they demolished that mall in 2014.
All right. Well, I didn't know. I just know that it was closed. And I didn't know if it was the building itself was still standing or if it was just all boarded up or, you know, what.
If they demolished it in 2014, that tells me that I have not been into Randall since 2013. And why would I? That's a fucking, you know, I drive way too nice of a car to be in that neighborhood.
Well, once again, your white privilege showing. You can't just go down there and rub elbows with just the common folk.
There's no common folk in that town. Common criminals. There's no common folk there.
Right. Well,
none.
Yeah. Well, when I moved to the Akron, Ohio area as a youth, the Rolling Acres Mall,
sure,
just opened.
Okay.
And it had the reputation as being the premier mall in the whole U.S. at one point.
Okay.
It was like the best of the best malls. It was like named like, you know, the best mall in the U.S. or whatever. Right. Very, very nice mall. It was my hangout through my high school years.
Okay.
And in just a few short years, that place just went down to nothing. And it's just all boarded up and it's all closed up. That mall lasted 20 years, I think.
Wow.
And that was the end of it. And now it's just a ghost town.
Why is it that malls are such a breeding ground for scumbags?
Well, I'll tell you where it started, if I remember right.
Okay.
The Akron Public Transit Authority. Mm-hmm. When Akron didn't always have buses, or they didn't run out to the suburban area, which is where Rolling Acres was.
Okay.
And they were offering free transportation from like the downtown areas,
right,
out to places like Rolling Acres Mall.
Okay.
And there was an influx of traffic of the troublemakers.
Okay.
Riding the buses.
Right.
You know, out to this place. And I remember distinctly when things started changing out there, and, you know, to be, you know, not to upset Bob or anything, but at one point people started referring to Rolling Acres Mall as Strolling Afros Mall.
Jesus. Really?
True.
Wow.
And people started staying away from there.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden you started getting incidences of violence out there.
Yeah. Well, I never understood why anybody wanted to go to the mall. It was always way too expensive anyway.
Yeah, but it was more of a social construct.
Yeah,
you know, that's where people gathered just to hang with their buds or their friends, and, just hang out at the food court, or, if you had to pick up a few things. I mean, when I was in my late teens and my early 20s, I used to shop at like Chess King and things like that.
Okay.
That because that was the only place you could go, and it was a place where you would see your friends, people that you knew or whatever. But after that, and everything just started going downhill, then people just started fleeing the area.
Yeah, I can't even think of the last time I was actually in a mall. It's got to be 20 years. Have you been in a mall in the last 20 years?
Well, to be honest with you, I just went to one a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time I'd actually been into this mall in literally 5 or 6 years.
Wait a minute, this is breaking news. You were out?
I was.
With people?
I was out.
What the fuck?
I was out with people. I actually went into a mall.
CMS Exclusive.
Neeley leaves the house and goes to a mall.
Neeley shops somewhere other than Amazon.
Right. Exactly. I was just a casual observer. I was not a active shopper.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. So you were the guy with the girl?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, dude. Really?
Yeah, really.
Were you the guy going, "Oh yeah, that dress is lovely"?
No, it wasn't anything like that. It was convenient. It was right across the street after having a fantastic lunch at the Outback. And it's like, while we're here, do you mind?
Oh, boy. Yes, sweetheart. You look great in those Uggs, I'll bet. Oh, boy. Yikes.
But fortunately, it was just a in and out situation.
Oh, you mean the shopping?
The shopping, yes. It was a duck in, check something real quick, back out.
Well, she must not be full girl then. Because if it wasn't a 3-hour shopping bender and then bitching that you just wanted to leave, then it really wasn't a real girl.
I think it was more of a 20-minute excursion, and in the 20 minutes, I think she was probably a little more irritated with the patronage than I was.
Oh, really?
Stupid people, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah,
God damn it, you just fucking stand there. Just stand there. Move.
All right. If she's got that attitude, it might be time for you to go to visit Kay Jeweler. That's a keeper there.
Yeah.
She hates shopping.
Yep. So yeah, it was a quick in and out of the mall, and that was, like I said, it's been at least 5 years.
Yeah, well, it's been at least 20 for me, and if all goes well, I'll never step foot in another one.
Right.
I mean, I can't even imagine going into one now. Most of them are so. Is that mall a decent mall, or was it?
It's still pretty good. They had a few issues a few years ago, but they've really tightened up security over there to where that's kind of tamped it down.
Is there like metal detectors to go in? And
no,
shit?
It isn't so much that, but they have a lot more patrols now. But unfortunately, they did open up a big movie complex at the east end of the mall.
Okay.
But across the street, there was another movie complex that totally shut down due to violence.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm thinking about. I have been in a mall in the last 20 years. I went to the movies with John and Stephanie at the Strongsville Mall.
Okay.
Is that a mall?
Yeah, actually, I used to do deliveries for Kaufman's department store, so I've actually used to deliver there all the time.
Okay, yeah. I now that I'm thinking about it, I went to that mall, and Steph was shopping for something, and I was with her, and it was just fucking irritating. It was just like, and like your story, she was just in and out in 5 minutes in a sporting goods store or something. And it was still just I was like, all these fucking assholes all around here. Can't just buy this online.
Exactly.
It's a fucking Indian shirt. They sell them. I swear.
Right.
I've turned into you.
You have. I think more and more people who listen to the show and take our word for it or think that we have the answers to life. I think a lot more people are doing the same thing.
Well, dude, it just doesn't. There's too many things that can go wrong with being in like a mall versus, I mean, what's the worst can happen if you shop on Amazon? You get the wrong shit?
Yeah, and fortunately for me, since I'm pretty confident that I know exactly what I want, I've never had an issue ever once.
Yeah, I've had a few things, but it's just truthfully, it's just because I'm lazy. It's just because I just fucking am like click. Because now I'm to the point that I don't even want to shop on Amazon. It's like, I don't want to dig through this fucking looking for the right ravioli. Just give me some, whatever.
Right.
So I'm just like click. And I think I told this on the air the other week that I ordered a bunch of fruit cocktail and it was all fucking some kind of tropical shit.
No, you didn't tell me that story.
Oh, well, this. Here we go. Here's a real entertainer.
This is another breaking news story. Chris shops on Amazon, gets the wrong product.
Yeah, here's my wrong fruit cocktail story. People, strap in for this wild story. No, I was shopping for fucking food, and I bought some what I thought was regular old fruit cocktail, and instead I got some kind of tropical shit.
Okay. And
this stuff, this is like, it's like eating rotten fruit in a can. It was like the combination of things was all kinds of shit that you just should not put together.
Right.
Two kinds of melon and some banana and some, like all kinds of stuff that you just aren't supposed to can.
Right.
And they dipped it in that juice. And of course, me watching my figure, I got the light juice, which makes it even fucking worse.
Yes.
So I get this light syrupy goo on this fucking awful fruit. And it's like, it was like eating a bag of bad fruit.
Right.
And really, you could taste as much of the can as you could the fucking fruit. It was disgusting.
Yeah. Did you look at the ingredients and it said made with a can of rotten fruit?
Made with shit. I think they just I think it could substitute as a stool sample.
Nice.
Just disgusting.
Ugh.
It was really bad. And then, I started bitching about it, and my kid was like, well, look, that's what you ordered, dummy. And I looked on Amazon, sure as shit it was.
Yeah. Didn't say Del Monte on the can.
No, of course not. It said El Jefe or something. I don't buy brand shit.
Right. Nice. Look at you buying fruit cocktail online.
Dude, I'll buy everything online anymore. Everything, anything and everything. Clothes, soap, laundry detergent. Dude, I bought fucking laundry detergent from China this week.
Nice.
Because it's like the big giant bottle. And that's another thing. I think I know I talked about this, about that I'm buying everything in the big giant bottles.
Right, just so you don't have to get it again for a while.
Yeah. And I bought this laundry detergent this week. It was the kind it makes 166 loads of laundry, and normally it's like $25. But if you bought it from China, it was only $4.
$4.
Yeah, $4.80.
Nice.
So I bought 2 of those, and I'm sure, in 6 or 8 months when it gets off the boat and gets here, it'll be fucking money well saved. I guess.
Yeah, you go. I got my $9 worth.
Yeah, no kidding. Of course, it's probably made from fucking the blood of slaves.
Or dog urine or something.
Yeah, something horrendous.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll be wearing some clothes, and then we'll see a story online that it was made from murdering dogs or something. There'll be a big scandal. Tide China murders dogs to make their fucking shampoo. I'm sure it'll be something like that.
Yeah, it'll be ground up dog fat.
Yeah, something. Like in Fight Club.
Exactly. Oh well. Such is life, man. The CMS guys, they're the most exciting dudes on the planet.
Yeah, we're living the high life, aren't we?
Yeah, they never leave the house. They shop online, and they talk about the bargains they found.
Yeah, and they watch a lot of TV.
Right.
What a life these guys are living.
Sure. We're voluntary shut-ins.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what, dude? I mean, do you miss anything? Do you sit around now and go, man, I wish I was out at the blah, blah, blah show or the movies or the car race or the whatever the fuck it would be. Do you ever sit there and say, yeah, it'd be better if I was out doing that instead of...
Well, I don't know if I would term it as better, but there are things that I do like to do that unfortunately are not local.
Okay.
So the chances of me getting to do them are, maybe 1 or 2 times a year type of things. In fact, next week, I don't think we're going to have a show because I don't think you're going to do a whole guest host thing.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So next week, there will be no show because I am traveling next week because I'm going to catch the last Pirate homestand in Pittsburgh.
Look at you.
Yeah. So that would be an example of something that I would think to myself, I'd like to get out of the house and do something like that.
Right.
That's one of the rare situations. But as far as, a day in, day out or local event or anything here, no.
Yeah. See, I don't really miss, like I see a lot of my buddies a lot of the time going to concerts and shit, and I see the pictures and shit from the concerts, and there's never a time where I'm like, man, I really should have been there tonight.
Yeah, the thing is with concerts anymore, there's really nobody that I would go, man, I got to get tickets for that. Because I've been doing this for, going on 25 years now. And, even prior to getting involved with the broadcast stuff and living in L.A. in a good portion of the 80s into the early 90s, I went to literally hundreds of shows.
Sure.
While I lived there because, there were so many venues that you could see so many shows. And they were all, within an hour and a half drive. And you could see headline shows all week long if you wanted to.
Sure. Absolutely, man.
Because,
dude,
I was kind of recounting that now that you brought up concerts and stuff as to the number of venues that were available, at least then.
Yeah.
There was Pacific Amphitheater, Irvine Amphitheater, Greek Theater, LA Sports Arena, LA Forum, Ventura Theater, Wiltern Theater. Then, of course, the Hollywood clubs. Be it the Whiskey or the Roxy, and at the time, Gazzari's.
Sure.
And there were just so many venues that any night of the week there was something going on. And at the time, I took advantage of that as often as I could. So for me to go out to a show 2 and 3 times a week, that was not uncommon.
Sure. And you just be tired the next day. Who gave a shit? You figured you'd have a rough morning and then you'd be fine.
That's it.
Yep.
And being that I didn't drink or do drugs or anything, I wasn't like hungover or affected by that. I just went because I enjoyed the show.
Yeah. Well, I went to those shows, but I did generally go to work the next day hungover, still drunk. But you made do. You got through it, and by noon you were like okay, and then then you do it again the next night. That was I guess that's the advantage of youth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm curious because this is something that has really stopped me more and more from going to shows. Will you skip a show if now there's no shows that are just like one opener and one band? Everything has several openers, and then the main band. Will you skip a show if you don't like one of the bands?
Not one. If there's like 4 or 5 openers and the headliner isn't going to go on till like 11,
right?
I might skip it because it's like, I'm not going to sit around until 11,
right? To
see the band I want to see,
right? See, if there's a band on a bill that I just don't like, I won't go anymore. Like last week, one of my favorite bands, and one of my favorite bands out there is Corrosion of Conformity.
Right. I've seen them.
I've seen them a dozen times at least. Love them. Absolutely love them. And they were in town this week with Danzig.
Now who's in COC?
Pepper's back.
Okay.
So it's the Pepper lineup.
All right.
It's the 4 guys it's Woody and Pepper and Reed and
so it's the Deliverance
yeah they were Wise Blood or whatever. Yeah. So it's the lineup of the band I love, but I don't like Danzig. So I skipped, and I could have gone. I mean, the publicist asked me, he was like, hey, you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I'll pass. Just because it was a Tuesday night, and I didn't want to see COC for 45 minutes. If they were headlining and I didn't have to suffer through Danzig, I might have gone. But I'm not a Danzig fan, so I didn't go. And I find myself doing that more and more. These shows, they end up with 4 or 5 bands on them. And, like the Megadeth tour that came through. It was like Megadeth and then like a bunch of bands, Tesseract and shit. I'm not going to go and sit through that shit. And you can't, at a lot of these venues where it's just a general admission, you can't get a good spot to see if you go late.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that, is that, I'm not going to stand through 4 and 5 openers.
Right.
To see the headliner and then, be just squished, especially places like the House of Blues.
Right.
Especially in downtown Chicago. I mean, the House of Blues only holds, I think the Chicago holds like 900 people.
Oh, is that it? Wow.
It's not a very big place. It might be 1,200, but I think it's like just around 1,000. Let's just say about 1,000 people.
Okay.
And they oversell it. At least all the times that I've been there, they oversell the venue. And if you get there late, you just walk up the stairs to the main room, and it's like a wall of people.
Yeah, and you're just fucked.
And that's it. The last time I went to a show at the House of Blues, I went to see Black Label.
Okay.
And my nephew and I went together, and we walk. They got a big staircase that goes up to the main room. Mm-hmm. We get to the top of the staircase, and that's as far as we can go.
Yeah, fuck that.
And the rest of it is just packed.
Right.
And we stayed through about, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. Let's just get the hell out of here.
Right. Meanwhile, you each ate $40 a ticket or whatever it was.
Well, fortunately, that was a freebie.
Okay.
It was one of those gimme shows.
Sure.
And we went, and it was just like,
Yeah, that's, for me, the venue is extremely important anymore for me. Like I will never, I don't care who it is, I will probably never see another show in the Cleveland House of Blues because same reason. They always overpack it, and it just fucking sucks. And their security are cunts too.
Well, see, I was going to go there next, but go ahead.
That's a venue I'll probably never go see a show at again. But like the Roxino, that's 10 minutes from my house or whatever it is, that's a nice room. It's a nice room. You have assigned seats. The seats are fairly comfortable, and you can see a good show no matter where you sit, and you can see pretty well in that venue, and you can hear the sound system's great. So I will go to that venue.
Plus, it's only 5 minutes from your house.
Oh, that's good too, because then I can drive drunk. I mean, then I can make it home safely with all those other drunks on the road. No, but dude. The concert experience anymore is just not that much fun.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. And, getting back to the House of Blues, another thing that turned me off about the House of Blues, prior to 9/11, you could just buy your ticket or have your ticket, walk through the venue door, get your ticket scanned, and go into the main room.
Right.
Now, they line you up outside the venue.
Right.
Then you come in and they check your ID at the first checkpoint.
Right.
You got to show them an ID.
Right.
Then at the second checkpoint, then they pat you down and run metal detectors over you.
Right.
Then at the third checkpoint, then they scan your ticket and let you into the venue. So you have to go through 3 checkpoints just to get into the place.
Right.
And it's just like, so they line you up like cattle outside around the building to get into this damn place.
Right.
And it's just like, you know what? I've had enough. Unless I'm traveling with a band, if I'm not with the crew or stuff, I just don't have any desire to just stand in line and, hustle in with the masses and all that crap. I'm just over it.
Yeah, I have less and less patience for it. I know when... What did me and Kelly go and see? We went and saw Styx, I think, was the last thing we went and saw. And it was packed. It was full. And she wanted to get drinks. And at the Roxino, they sell mixed drinks. So we were standing in the line that sold mixed drinks, which of course was 3 times as long as the other line. And I just was like, I could have stayed home, drank my face off, and watched a Styx DVD and been just as fucking happy. You know, honestly. And I had a great time. The show was great and everything else, but I would have been just as happy to watch Caught in the Act and fucking got hammered on Jack and Coke or whatever.
Right.
I'd have been just as happy.
Yeah, deep cut in the chat room. The Golden Girls Stay at Home, starring Chris and Neeley.
Pretty much, man. But it's just not that much fun to go out anymore.
No.
It's really not, and maybe it has a lot to do with doing it to overkill levels. You know what I mean? You have to have been to 1,000 shows, haven't you?
Easily.
And I've been to thousands of shows. You know, I especially when I first started writing for Scene, I was reviewing 4 shows a week.
Right, I remember.
You know, and then when I was with Music's Bottom Line, then I was doing that, and then I was doing, you know, promotion with MMS for other shows, and you know, and then as if that wasn't enough, then shows would come that I had no involvement with, but I'd still just go because I was gonna go. So yeah, I've been to several thousand shows to where that's just not exciting to me anymore. You know, I don't get that much of a buzz off of fucking, I don't know, Queensryche or whatever anymore. You know, and that's not shitting on Queensryche.
Yeah, it's just that you've seen them so many times. It's just like, what are they going to bring to the table that's different?
And I mean, every band that I am a true fan of, I think I've seen at least 10 times.
Right.
And when you start getting into those numbers, and like Metallica's the most I've ever seen at 41 times. I've seen Metallica. So do I need to see him again? Not really.
Yeah. Well, I gotta admit, the little venue that I went to see Red Rain and Tesla a few weeks ago, that was actually a very open. I didn't feel claustrophobic there, and it was well orchestrated. Everything was, you know, they had the seating and everything was lined up well, and you know, it wasn't a lot of push and shove, and you didn't feel like, you know, like I said, claustrophobic at all.
Right. Sure.
And the place was pretty full. It had an upper, you know, like an upper mezzanine area where there was seating, and then they had floor seating and whatever, and it was just a very open, easy, relaxed space, and I just didn't feel like you know, like I didn't want to be there.
Right.
And they didn't accost you at the door, and they didn't pat you down 6 times and all this other shit, and
Sure.
It was actually a good experience.
Right.
So those kind of shows I don't mind so much.
Yeah. See? Now, but if I'd have gone to that show, I'd have been trying to get the Red Rain guys to go party somewhere as soon as they were off the stage. No way I would have wanted to stay for Tesla. And I love Tesla. But I would have been like, let's go fucking do something.
Right.
Let's go look at Tits at the Tit Bar or something. You know, I've seen Tesla.
Yeah. Well, they did hang around and sell some merch and take some photos and, you know, sign some autographs and things. But then after the thing was over, then we went back to the hotel and hung out on the terrace and had some Jack and Cokes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So, and you know, the hotel folks had to come out a couple of times because there was some bachelor party out there, and the guys were hooping and hollering out there a little bit too loud. And they were basically telling them they had to cut it out or they'd have to leave.
Sounds like my kind of a party.
Yeah, well, yeah. Unfortunately, you can't get too rowdy at a hotel because, you know, everybody's get to complaining.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking what do these people think they can sleep?
Yeah, pal.
So what is this? St. Louis is fucking falling apart tonight?
Yeah, of course, because that white officer got acquitted for shooting a black suspect.
I don't even know this story. Honestly, I don't know.
Well, it's another
Michael Brown thing?
Michael Brown situation.
Oh, well, cool. I might have to watch it during the break. Are they killing each other?
Yeah, they're beating each other up. Somebody got run over, just like Charlottesville.
Oh, I'm going to have to watch that.
You know, that kind of stuff. People just are stupid.
Can somebody send me clips of murder? I'd like to see some murder. I like seeing stupid people kill themselves. Oh, look at Chris. It's night 2 of this shit, really.
Yeah, it is. It started yesterday because the verdict came out yesterday.
Yeah, I'm way locked in.
So everybody had to take to the streets because the justice system didn't work the way they thought it should.
Yeah, man.
You know, the thing is we have one of the best justice systems in the world. And when the verdict doesn't come down the way you think it should have come down, then that gives you authority to go out and torch the streets.
Well, I support these fine people. I think they are doing the right thing by wrecking their city in protest of something that didn't involve them.
Exactly.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
Of course.
It's a great idea because it gives me something fun to watch.
Exactly.
Wow, they attacked the mayor's house last night?
Yeah, they did. That was the black girl with the stones. She was throwing rocks through the window.
From ESPN? Oh, no.
No, not that one. They all look the same anyway, so you couldn't tell the difference.
Hey, you said that.
No, the people who throw rocks, they all have the same throwing motion.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, they all look the same when they're picking up rocks and heaving them through windows.
No, I'm wow, am I oblivious to all this? I have paid no attention. I was more interested in the Indians' winning streak than the fucking demise of our country.
Right. Well, St. Louis is the highest murder capital in the U.S. anyway, so it's a shit town anyway, so no big loss.
Herd thinning?
Yeah, well, more or less, yeah.
Are the cops doing anything, or are they just standing there getting pelted with shit?
Well, they are out in force, but the thing is, thanks to, the girl on ESPN and Colin Kaepernick and all the race baiters out there, making these people feel justified in their rage and their anger.
Right.
See?
Yeah, there it is. Meanwhile, somehow all this violence will get thrown back on the working class people.
No, all this violence will be Trump's fault.
Is it Trump's fault?
Oh, of course. It has to be his fault.
Did he breed the culture?
Yeah, he did.
He bred this culture? Did he say something about this today?
I have not kept up with the news today, but no matter what he says, it'll be wrong.
Of course.
No matter what.
Of course, but it'll be fun to watch. I saw he had some kid cutting his grass. I didn't know what that was about.
Well, some kid from Virginia had written a letter to President Trump.
Okay.
And said, hey, I have a lawn mowing business. Now, this kid is a young guy. He's like, I guess he's like 10 or 12.
Okay.
And he's like a enterprising kid. And he's got his own lawnmower business.
Yeah.
And he more or less sent a letter to President Trump and said, hey, I would like to mow the White House lawn. I would like to bid on mowing the White House lawn.
Oh, nice.
And so the Trump people found this kid's letter, or, maybe some local news coverage made a story of it. And so they let this kid go over there and mow the White House lawn.
Yeah.
So while he's mowing the lawn, this kid is so focused on doing his job that President Trump came out to shake his hand. And this kid wouldn't even stop for a minute mowing the lawn to stop and say hello to President Trump because he was so focused on doing that job.
Right. And then the left came out with a big story today saying, well, they didn't give it to a person of color. They let a white kid cut the grass.
Yeah, but the thing is if it was a black guy cutting the grass, Trump believes in slave labor.
Yeah.
He's got a black guy mowing the White House lawn.
A black kid.
Yeah, so no matter the situation, if it's a white kid mowing the lawn, they'll only let white people there.
Right.
And then on the other side, if they black guy mows the lawn, they believe in slave labor.
We're fucked as a country.
No matter what you do, you're fucked.
Yeah, we're just fucked. Oh, well. But at least it ain't here yet.
But here's the funny thing. Trump basically invited the kid and his father into the Oval Office to have some lemonade or something.
Right.
He said, I'll be in there as soon as I'm done with the job.
Okay, nice.
That's what the kid said. I'll be there when I'm done.
Yeah, look, I don't know if this is true or not, but Tyrant in the chat room, CNN reported that Trump was breaking child labor laws.
I have no doubt about that.
They probably did.
They probably did. But of course, Trump was trying to put a positive spin on that and said, well, see, this is the future of our America, of America here, are people who go out there and roll up their sleeves and want to get to work.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way down to the work ethic as a young man here who's got his own little lawn mowing business.
Right. That's not the future of America. The future of America is nothing, is being overrun by fucking Saudi Arabia and China. That is the future. You ever see that show, The Man in the High Castle?
I did.
That's like what it's going to be in 25 years, 30 years. Somebody's going to come in and just overtake this country. Because the combination of the pussified fucking youth and, the people that are butthurt about such little things, China's just going to come over and just whack all these fucking people and take over.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, it's a good thing that the man in the high castle. It's a good thing that Amazon is going to drones to deliver.
Yeah,
because then they'll be able to deliver at the highest point in that castle there.
That's right.
Yeah, but there it is. Kendall's got it.
Trump using child labor. Are you fucking kidding me? All right, that's not CNN, though.
Of course not.
I was like, son of a bitch, really?
The counterfeit news network.
And of course I fell for it. I'm like, what?
That's by Mark Dice, of course.
Right. Damn, I'm a stupid ass.
I got an email from our good friend Sal in the chat room.
Okay.
And all it said, not an email, it was just the header in the email. Please get Mark Dice on the show.
I wonder if he'd come on.
I don't know. I haven't reached out to him or anything, but I didn't think you liked him.
I like Mark Dice.
Oh, I wasn't aware. I thought at one time I had mentioned him, and I'm not a big fan of that guy.
Dude. I don't believe everything he says, but I'm him, Alex Jones, all those guys. They entertain me to the utmost degree. I love them. I mean, Alex Jones especially. That guy's the fucking bomb.
Yeah.
I love when he comes off with they're making the frogs gay. I love when he goes into fucking tinfoil hat mode.
Yeah, well, you know what the whole thing is when you and I were doing our Alex Jones impressions.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty dead on.
Yeah, it was.
Doing the whole gravelly voice thing.
I like Alex. Do you listen to him?
I watch his YouTube clips. His show's too long. I don't have 2 and 3 hours just to sit and watch his whole show. But fortunately, he does it similar to what we do, where he breaks the show up into like 5 and 8 minute segments.
Right.
And so if I see something that, catches my attention, I will watch that.
Sure. Yeah, I listen to his whole show is available on podcast every day. So I tend to get his show, and if I'm in the mood for news, that's about what I get is Alex Jones. That's as close to the news as I get.
Yeah, well, I like, if I'm going to listen to a podcast for, say, an hour, I will listen to Mark Levin.
Yeah, I added him to my phone.
I know,
too.
I noticed that, but that's my go-to.
Yeah.
If I want to listen to any kind of commentary.
Right.
And then my second one is Savage.
Yeah, Savage I have on my phone as well. The Savage Nation.
The Savage Nation.
I have them on my phone, but I have not listened in a long time.
Mm-hmm. So those are the two go-tos when it comes to commentary and breaking down,
Sure.
the news, if you will, or the events of the day, if you will.
Right.
Because they always seem to have a pretty good constitutional background when it comes to, analyzing that stuff rather than opinion.
Right. Sure. Dude, next time you're in town, I'm going to have to show you how to set this podcast thing up so that you can because I could see you, especially in that drive, where you've got 45 minutes each way. I could see you listening to some of these podcasts.
Sure.
If they're automatically on your phone.
Right.
And it's so easy. The podcast apps now, you tell it how many you want to have, and that way you don't fucking burn up your hard drive. Not that you will. You bought the big one too, didn't you?
I did.
So you wouldn't fill it up, but like I have mine all set. Most of it just keeps the most current thing, and it just whenever a new one comes, it deletes the old one and replaces it with the new one. So
right.
it's convenient and it's easy, and I can't even fathom like regular TV and regular radio anymore. I can't, dude. Like last night, and I know we're all over the map here tonight.
Yeah, I know, but it's been a good segment here. We're already over an hour in.
I know, and we're just rambling around. But so last night I did something I don't do. I went out.
What?
I know. I went
Breaking
out.
news. Chris Sagan leaves the house.
Friday night out with Chris Sagan.
Right.
But no, I went out and I was over at Kelly's and we were watching the baseball game.
Okay.
On whatever, on Fox Sports Go we were watching the Indians game.
See, Fox. See, it has to be Fox, man.
Yeah.
Racist network.
Yeah.
Only white people watch Fox.
That's right. Well, I'm white, so I'm allowed. So I'm there. I'm watching the game.
Why don't you just call it White Privilege Network?
All right. Well, while I was on the Whitey White Network, I'm watching the baseball game last night, where they blotted out any players of color. They only showed the white players. That was the only players I saw. But so I'm watching the game, and every half inning, like after every half inning, they would go to commercials, and every single one of them was this fucking same guy with the same commercial. This Tim Misny guy, you know that guy?
No.
I'll make them pay. That's his catchphrase.
Okay.
He's just a scumbag attorney.
Oh, so he's a junkyard lawyer.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's one of those fucking dildos. But bald head, and he tries to have the serious look, but his catchphrase is "I'll make them pay." And we were watching it. We weren't paying much attention at first, but you can't help but by the 15th time you've seen this cocksucker,
well, he's got to have a lot of money if he's running that many commercials during a ball game.
I am telling you, he ran every 3 hour, every commercial break. The first commercial was his. Every single one. He must be making a ton of money.
He's got to. If he's on a sports, a sporting event like that, and being able to have a commercial between each half inning.
Well, it is local though, so it's somewhat cheaper. But he probably did something where he pays the station like $30,000 for the whole year or something.
Yeah.
For the whole season or something. But my God, dude, there was that commercial, and then they would follow that commercial with, it's a commercial of a guy, and he's running water in his face, and he's completely fucking wasted.
All right.
And he's looking in the mirror in the bathroom of the bar while he's rubbing water in his face, and the reflection is telling him, "Just drive home, dude. Just drive home. It'll be good. Just drive home." It's an obviously an anti drunk driving commercial.
Don't drink and drive, right?
So, but every fucking commercial break was these two commercials, and I was like, I could never watch commercial TV again.
Yeah.
I could never do it like full time anymore. It's just too fucking annoying. Every break, I'll make them pay. Don't drive drunk. It's like, fuck.
Well, you remembered it, didn't you?
Yeah, of course I remembered it.
It's effective now.
Yeah, I wonder if I ever need an attorney, I'll make them pay, as he said.
Sure.
But dude, commercial TV, it's just fucking brutal. It's unwatchable now, I think.
Well, again, we're spoiled with our instant downloads and our our ability to listen to podcasts and watch Netflix and everything unencumbered with commercials.
Sure.
So,
yeah, dude,
so now we're
nice.
spoiled. We're spoiled.
Can you imagine going back to the way it was the old days?
No, not at all.
Can you imagine, like, you're into the BoJack Horseman? I'll bring it back. I'll bring the circle back around.
Comes full circle.
Yeah. You're into that BoJack Horseman. Can you imagine if you could only watch it 1/2 hour a week and it was split with commercials? You probably wouldn't be a fan.
There might be some truth to that. I mean, well, the only thing that I can relate to that is back in the 90s when Beavis and Butthead were on MTV. Mm-hmm. But even now, those episodes are, all available. I have the whole DVD collection, so if I ever wanted to watch any of those, I could.
Right. So now, I know you enjoy those, but let's just say for whatever reason that Channel 2 in fucking Chicago was running Beavis and Butthead
Marathon.
Yeah,
I wouldn't watch it.
You wouldn't turn it on?
No.
Not even for 1 second? You would just pull your DVDs out.
Exactly.
See, and that's the way of the world now. We're so used to having everything on demand. And more and more, the one thing that I am more addicted than ever to having information, whatever information I want at my fingertips. Like during the week this week, I was in one of those modes where I wanted to learn about the real people from Casino.
Oh yeah. I watched that. Is that on Netflix?
No, it was on YouTube.
Oh, okay. I did watch that. That's exactly where I saw it. I know I casted it to TV. So
yeah, it's the real Casino.
Yeah.
And because of that, then I went through some of my other movies. Like one of my favorite movies is Kill the Irishman, about Danny Green here in Cleveland.
Right.
And
I did watch that too. He was a big guy.
Yeah. But of course, the real Danny Green documentary was quickly available for that too. I watched Kill the Irishman, and then I was like, man, I want to see some more about the real Danny Green. YouTube, Danny Green, boom. Here's a 2-hour documentary on Danny Green. Right there, fingertips, pow, so easy. I can't imagine what we were doing back in the old days when we were like, oh, Danny Green, let me go to the library and see if I can find a microfiche.
Wait, that's funny you should say that, because one evening I was really into, watching some gangster stuff.
Okay.
And there's some people out there who really do a fantastic job with these documentaries, just like the ones you mentioned there. Mm-hmm. And growing up, I was probably like between the age of 6 and 12.
Yeah.
I lived over on the east side of Youngstown, right along the Ohio-Pennsylvania border over near Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And that was a hotbed of mobster activity between Youngstown, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland.
Right, sure.
And Jim Trafficant, he was the sheriff over in Mahoning County.
Right.
At that time. And I just remember, because my brother started working in the steel industry, and I remember all the strikes and all the, things going on over there, but I was too young to really remember a lot of that.
Sure.
Well, somebody put a really good documentary together about the mob activity in the Youngstown, Ohio area.
Oh, no kidding.
And I watched that, and I was like, holy shit. As a kid, I recall some minimal information about that, but I didn't realize the gravity or the whole scope of it.
Right.
And somebody did a really good job putting that together, and old footage and photos and, narrating the whole thing, and talked about what a hotbed of corruption that was over there at that time.
Yeah, well, that was how I am with the Danny Green. I was like 7, 8, 9 years old when that whole thing with Danny Green was going on.
Right.
And I don't remember it really, but what I do remember is that when my dad would take me down to the stadium to go to Indians games, and my dad used to always, no matter where, no matter what, he would park in a parking garage. And he used to always joke that the reason he parked in the parking garage was because it was safer, and it pretty much guaranteed that he wouldn't get blown up leaving the game.
Yeah, you wouldn't get a car bomb.
Yeah, and I know, I was a kid. I didn't know. I was like, haha, funny, Dad, whatever. And that was it. I was an innocent kid. But now that I'm watching this documentary, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they had like 80 bombs blow up in 2 years in Cleveland.
Yeah, all over that city.
I was like, what the fuck? 80 bombs.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Between Cleveland and Akron.
Yeah. And Youngstown.
Yeah, and Youngstown, true.
Youngstown was where, the Scalifas were or something?
Exactly. The Scalifa brothers.
Yeah. So, interesting stuff. I just love having the information at my fingertips, and there's all kinds of mob stuff out there. There's one, I think it's on Netflix, and it's about the UK mob, the English mob.
Yeah, there was a couple of brothers over in the south end of England, and the show Monty Python parodied that. They called them the Piranha Brothers.
Okay.
And they did a whole parody of that, but it was actually two brothers who actually terrorized the south end of England like a mob.
Wow.
It was kind of very interesting, but yeah, they had that issue over there as well.
Yeah. And I love all that stuff. Like I said, any kind of, as long as it's not affecting me, any kind of terror is great to me.
Yeah, I like watching it. Just keep it off my doorstep, will you?
Yeah. Don't let me or anybody that I like be affected by it. But, if it's people I don't know, fuck it. Let's watch them be killed.
Exactly.
I'm in. I love it.
Kill or be killed.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think I need a short break.
Yeah, I need something to drink.
Yeah. And since we're talking about, staying out of trouble and staying out of the way, I thought I'd play some of your Cleveland band Signal 30.
All right.
They have a CD out called Series of Disappointments.
Yep.
And I'm going to play a song here. It's just called Stay Out of You.
All right.
So everybody go grab a drink. We'll be back in a few minutes. This is Cleveland band Signal 30 with Stay Out of You exclusively here
on your classic metal show.